Yeah, Katie Smart. And this is Trey.
And Trey, I signed your name on the bus some time ago. I remember your name.
Yes, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to make it or not, so we're happy that
It
we
looks
were.
like it needs to be gone over again, so I
Yeah.
think that's perfect.
We'll go over it again.
All right, so tell us what happens, Trey.
We got all of his vaccines on time, 2, 4, 6, 9 months. And every time after he'd have high fevers, inconsolable crying, we'd deal with ear infections and sickness and constipation, and it always just didn't feel right. And every time I would go in, they weren't sure like which ones he'd had before and which ones he needed. They tried to give him like double of stuff, and it always made me so uncomfortable.
Okay, let's go back and talk about that a little bit more, because this is a big problem that we have.
Yeah.
So, how old was he when he started to say, hang on, has he had the vaccines? Oh, well, never mind, let's just give them to him anyway.
It was almost every appointment, starting from like 4 months, 6 months, 9 months.
Doctor, why would that happen?
No, my husband's military, so it was always on base, and they're usually pretty good about records, but just for some reason they were always like, well, which ones did he have, or let's give him this one, and I was always so scared that they'd give him ones that he wasn't due yet, like the MMR is not till 12 months and stuff, so it always just made me so uncomfortable because...
So you would say, look, I don't actually know what he had.
Yeah, I'm like, you need to make sure you're giving him the ones that are due this time. And just because of that, it just didn't feel right. And then when he had his 12-month shots, it was the same thing, like high fever, inconsolable crying, but instead of like constipation, he had diarrhea, and it was 8+ times a day, like oozing out the sides, and it was for 2 months straight. And they did like blood tests and stool samples and stuff, and they were like, well, there's nothing wrong with him. They couldn't tell me why he was having constant diarrhea for 2 months straight. And when the diarrhea stopped, it's when he lost all his speech. And he lost all the words that he had known, and then he didn't start learning any new words for over a year. And at the time, since we're military, we were moving across the country, so we didn't, like with the words issues, we didn't think, oh, well, maybe it was the vaccines. After he had the diarrhea, let me get my thoughts together.
No, this is absolutely fine. It's very painful going through it all, so everybody understands.
When they couldn't tell me why he was having the constant diarrhea, we just knew it was the vaccines, because there's nothing else in his lifestyle, diet, anything that we had changed. So, and at the same time, a second cousin of mine, one of her friends, her daughter had just died of SIDS at 2 months old, like the day receiving her vaccines. And so we decided to stop all the vaccines and start researching it. And hi baby. And that's when we stopped, was after the 12 months. Like I said, he lost his speech. He didn't start talking again for over a year. And we were hearing all these stories of like kids who had, changed overnight into autism, but that wasn't like our story. With the move and everything, we thought, well, maybe that's why he's not talking, all the stress, new place, all that. And then as he's gotten older, the autism symptoms have come out and gotten stronger.
How old is he now?
He's 6. He'll be 7 in March.
Does he have any diagnosis?
We just got diagnosed this year. But yeah, as he's gotten older, like he lost the eye contact, he started with the aggression and repetitive behaviors and keeping to the routine and stimming and all that stuff. So it wasn't an overnight, change with the shots. It was gradual.
So today, with him like he is now, what are these vaccines taking place?
With being military, it has been kind of hard to make friends, so it was always just kind of us hanging out at the house, because I'm a stay-at-home mom. And then when he started school, since he's in special education classes, he was always just kind of with kids that are kind of, behind like he is. And this last year, when he started baseball, is when we really saw the difference of how far behind he is than kids his own age. And watching him try to kind of initiate contact with other kids, and he isn't always understandable when he talks. And the kids aren't mean, they're always kind of nice, but they're just kind of like, yeah, and then kind of ignore him. So it was really hard seeing just how far behind he is and struggling with that. So
Painful.
yeah.
Thank you for telling us a story. Well, you're a strong mum.
Yeah.
I can see that. Thank you so much for telling us a story of your beautiful boy.
Yeah. Just trying to get the word out.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We really do.